So, Fortnite is here, and you want to kill some husks in the face, but how do you get the most bang for your bang? Well, we're going to be talking about the best weapons in Fortnite, right here on the Triple S League. My name is Ashnidity, I'm here with Cypsidian.
Hello, we've got tons of weapons. I gotta compliment them. I don't even think we saw this many guns at the release of The Division. There's some pretty awesome weapons in here.
And they have some pretty awesome names.
There's some really good ones, and then there's some meh ones. And because you burn a lot of items that you get, you want to know which ones to burn and which ones to keep.
And which ones to save up to craft, because even the best weapons will eventually break in this game. There's no repairing them, there's no nothing. So let's just go through. There's a lot of different kinds of weapons in the game.
Well, let's go through the assault rifles first. So under the assault rifles, you have auto rifles, burst rifles, and some LMGs. The auto rifle Siege Breaker is probably one of the best weapons in the game. It's very accurate. It's a good maintaining weapon, and if you get perfect stats on this weapon, this will carry you through most of the content. Very accurate, mid to long range. Can be used to poke targets. Can be used to snipe targets. It's an all-around best gun. It's why it's number one. If you get a perfect rolled LMG, or even a moderately rolled LMG, this LMG, the Terminator, will outclass the Siege Breaker in most of the situations. Comes with an enormous amount of ammo, and the ammo is cheap and plentiful to craft. You'd be crafting a lot of ammo, but you'll be cracking a lot of husks. So the burst rifles, these are the double shot and triple shot rifles. They're not very good. They don't put out a large amount of DPS when you really need them to, and they're not really that great for like sniping and stuff. So these weapons are outclassed very quickly by the auto rifles, the LMGs, and in fact a lot of the pistols as well. A lot of the pistols will outclass the burst weapons. So if burst weapons are your style and you get a really good roll of it with the stats and the bonuses, it's probably something you'll want to keep. But as far as like if you're looking to min-max, probably not the best. If you don't know, or if you're not very familiar with these weapons, don't sink any leveling into them. Even if you get an epic, you will regret it later on.
All right, so let's talk about pistols.
Pistols, some of the best weapons are pistols. The hand cannon Jackal is really good when you're just moving around the map and you're wanting to like take out things. Some of the pistols have penetration, which is really, really awesome.
Penetration in this game is quite effective. I mean, you could literally take out a dozen enemies if you line up their heads.
But back to the hand cannons, pretty good. If you find one that's really fits your style and you get a really good roll on the stats and it's a legendary and an epic, yeah, you might want to keep that one around. They're typically not that hard to craft. They don't take a lot of resources, so yeah, they're pretty decent. Alright, so the heavy auto pistols, the Monsoon and the Haywire gun, these ones are really, really good for high-end, fast DPS. You're going to be reloading a lot, you're going to be chewing through a lot of ammo, but if you're up against a Smasher or a tanker at close range, these guns will save your life with their bullets. The Firecracker pistols, and there's a space version that fires energy blasts. These are really good. The Tiny Instrument of Death is the best one. This is the biggest one. This thing makes a big boom. It takes out a lot of enemies, and it's not too nightmarish on ammo either. So this is I mean, if this is all you're using and you're using it every moment of the day, you're gonna be starved for ammo. But when it comes to most manageable encounters, this is a great weapon to have. If you get this early on, during one of the resets in the alpha, I got the energy one as a epic, and this thing would clear entire waves of enemies with just one or two well-placed shots. So this thing's really, really good.
I will note that it has a very slow rate of fire, and you can get off 2 or 3 shots, and then the gun sort of has to recharge. That's the energy-based one. I'm not sure about the other one.
It's very kind of similar. It does have a bit of a charge-up time, but honestly, this thing, if you pace yourself right and you take careful shots with it, it's probably going to be one of your best weapons. I would definitely say if you get your hands on one of these, it's worth it just to have around pretty much all the time. And it's only ever replaced by the rocket launcher.
For taking out groups of enemies from a distance kind of thing.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
The shotgun field is a little bit sparse with their with the top end picks, but the auto shotgun, the Tiger Jaw, is definitely your favorite weapon for clearing out a ton of enemies really fast. This also has really high-end DPS, and because it's got a really good spread mechanic, if you're kind of surrounded on all sides and you just let this thing go crazy, as long as you're not shooting into the air, this will pretty much clear out everything around you immediately. Also has good amount of knockback. This is definitely a weapon to keep if you get this rolled.
So some of your slow shotguns and break shotguns will come with penetration, which means you can do massive damage to a tight pack of enemies. I have used these and found them useful in certain situations. It is frustrating to have to pause and reload so often, though.
Yeah.
I have found, so I prefer some of the other shotguns, like the tactical and precision shotguns.
Most of the tactical and precision shotguns and all the break shotguns can be reloaded one shell at a time and then fired too. So if you're, kind of running and gunning, you don't have to wait and reload the entire clip like you do with the LMG or some of the other guns that have a longer reload time. You can just reload 1 or 2 bullets at a time, fire those 2.
That is true, but it results in a very low rate of fire.
Now let's move on to sniper rifles.
My favorite class of weapon, although actually it has some heavy competition in this game.
They really do, yeah, they really do. But these ones are definitely, the Deadeye and the One Shot are definitely the best in slot. If you get a Deadeye, the Deadeye only goes up to blue in the alpha. There is a crystal version that goes up to legendary, and I preferred the one without the scope because I could easily take a shot, line it up, get a good headshot, and then make another.
Yeah, it doesn't constrict your field of view nearly as much. The scopes I found actually can be somewhat constricting.
Yeah.
As far as lining up your next shot.
And again, penetration on both of these, which means that if you get the perfect lineup, you take out multiple enemies with one shot. Auto snipers, these guys are really low damage, pretty good accuracy, not a big clip. They're really light on ammo, but they're not very good at what they do. Now, if you do get one with a dot effect, you can really weaken a big wave without doing very much to them. But again, a good bolt action is going to replace pretty much everything that you're going to do. If you are accustomed to rapid fire, long range sniper rifles, then this is good for you, but check these out before you pour a bunch of resources and leveling them up to see if it's something that you're going to be comfortable with using.
Okay.
But what is the single weapon in the game that does the most amount of damage per shot? And this is definitely going to be a toss-up between the Super Shredder and the Zapatron. The Zapatron is an energy rifle that can be charged, allowing for a massive headshot and damage. Little hard to control, but this thing easily outclassed any other weapon in the single biggest shot. So if you're lining up a shot against a heavy enemy and you get a good headshot off on it, or if you're sniping an enemy that's sleeping, this is your best go-to weapon. This thing will take out an enormous amount of health with a headshot, will crit and do amazing damage, and it is really bad close range.
Okay. And then the Super Shredder is essentially a sniper shotgun.
This was one of the most favorited weapons in the alpha. Pretty much everybody at high levels were running around with these. It has a very fast fire rate. It has a really good ammo capacity. This thing will tear through waves and waves of enemies from pretty much halfway across the map. And when you get close range, it's even better because the concentrated fire can do massive amounts of damage to bosses and elites.
It doesn't sound like there's a downside to this one.
This is why it was one of the absolute favorite weapons. Hopefully we won't see it nerfed come live, but this is definitely, if you get this gun, you're probably going to end up making this one of your top 5.
All right, so let's talk about your explosives.
Okay, so there are several explosive weapons that do not have traditional ammo counters. There's a rocket launcher, and then there's a grenade launcher. The grenade launcher has a bit of a bounce on it. It's not very controllable. It tends to go all over the place. Only really good if you're fighting huge, massive packs of waves constantly. It doesn't use ammo, as it basically uses the durability per shot. So these things you're gonna craft a lot of these things. So if you happen to get one of these weapons that have extended durability on them, then it's gonna really make their crafting them worth it.
Interesting. Okay.
The rocket launcher is the best pick, and the legendary version is called the bazooka, and this thing will do an enormous amount of AoE damage and has a pinpoint accuracy. Very easy to control, very easy to fire. Definitely one of my top picks, but again, this thing uses its durability as ammunition. It's going to break fast, and in fact, if you find a half damaged blue or green version out in the wild while you're scavenging for supplies, that thing's only going to be good for 2 to 3 shots typically. So if you get a legendary version with extra durability, craft it up, level it up, you're going to find that this gun actually does last quite a while, and again, uses no ammo, but it is going to be a drain on your crafting resources.
All right, so finally, let's talk about melee weapons.
There's some really amazing melee weapons in this game, and some really funny ones, from from brooms to golf clubs to rakes and pretty much any tool in the shed. However, a lot of these melee weapons are just rehashes over the basic melee weapons. Baseball bats and golf clubs, they're okay, they're fine, but really they're not the best weapon that you can get. The best melee weapons that you can get, especially if you play a ninja, is definitely going to be the sword category. In the sword category, you have the slice and dice, the husk cleaver, and the laser blade. All of these ones have an amazingly good feel to them when you're slashing. The heavy sword, the husk cleaver, has one of the best heavy attacks in the game, can clear out big waves of mobs and do it with ease actually. Quick attacks, quick staggers, typically will allow you to dance around an enemy doing a lot of damage to them really quickly, whereas a lot of the smaller weapons like the baseball bats, the wrenches, will often leave you fairly exposed to counterattack by anything that's within your immediate range. The one really contrary to this is the rocket sledgehammer. This rocket sledgehammer has an enormous critical base. It combines with the constructor hero's kinetic abilities and bonuses really well. If you're a constructor, this is definitely going to be the weapon for you. The AoE damage on this heavy attack alone is worth it for pretty much any class. They're going to be adding new weapons. They have a lot more weapons planned, and in fact the limited special edition is coming with specialized weapons recipes that are really rare. You're also going to be able to trade and give them to your friends, so make friends with somebody who's got a couple of these legendary recipes if you do not have these things.
Right on. So that does it for the weapons that we know about so far that were in the alpha. These are our picks for the best weapons for most circumstances. We have tons of other Fortnite content, so be sure to like and sub, and check out the other videos we've done, and we will talk to you later. Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us out a ton when you do that. Check out this video. It's one of our favorite things that we've done so far on our channel. And here's some more stuff you might like.